Forget everything you heard about marketplaces because today I'm here with a person that not only has proven that marketplaces are not saturated, but that's the main method that he's selling his 3D prints. Today I'm here with Derek Alvarez and he's going to tell us a little bit his story on how he scaled his account on Etsy to become a star seller. So Derek, thank you very much for being with us and tell us a little bit about your journey so far.
Thank you, Bruno. So what started as actually a Christmas gift from a very good friend of mine was a 3D printer. It just blossomed. It was perfect timing during COVID. So I got to spend a lot of time with my kids doing some 3D printing. It was a bed slinger. So, slow, single color, little pieces here and there.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, we upgraded to multi-material, and it's just blossomed into an amazing process. So from there, my business brain started thinking, well, there's so much opportunity and diversity with 3D printing. It's not just a piece of plastic. It is art that you can really make into something physical that people just want to buy.
First, before we go into the story, I think it's very curious that you started with a bed slinger that had a lot of difficulties because I've also started with a bed slinger back in the day, and it took me a while to realize that I could sell 3D printed products because back then they did not have the quality so that we could sell these things. So how was that for you?
100%, night and day. I mean, I think honestly, if I had that bed slinger, I would not be giving STLFLIX justice, just because I know that the quality probably wouldn't be there. You fast forward to now, and it truly is a lot of the items. I have that confidence that when I post your items and I have those images, what comes out of the printer is actually that exact item, quality wise, color wise. It's not only that the printer does good, but the way that you guys make your designs, it's perfectly formatted, and it really does come out how it's supposed to. And that goes so far when I hear that I get a pop-up on one of the online marketplaces that someone's leaving a review and it's a 5-star. I'm going on over 700 sales in 3-4 years, less than 3 years, and still have a 4.9 star seller status when all 100% of my STLFLIX files have been 5 stars. And that goes so much and so helpful.
That's awesome. But tell me a little bit how you started selling your prints and what was the decision to focus on the marketplace?
So I did do a lot of fairs, those craft fairs that you sell at home. You get the booth. I live in Florida where it is hot 11 and a half out of the 12 months out of the year. And it's a lot of stuff to take. I mean, we're taking the tables, we're taking all the figures, and yes, people are out there with the articulated toys and whatnot. So there is, obviously, you can really see competition there, and it's just buckets and buckets. I'm there with maybe my home decor, since that's my niche, and that does work. Don't get me wrong, but it's really hot, and it was one of those where I just wanted to hone down on learning SEO, learning, the marketplace, what it sells like, and doing everything from home. It just made it so much easier, and it really does help that a lot of the information I need to properly price it is there. It's
Mm-hmm.
on the site. You got your filament, you have how much time it's going to take. From there, you can already kind of guesstimate what you're going to sell it for, and you're home. You don't have to go out. The post office comes and picks it up from your house. You don't even have to leave your house. You really don't, and it's great.
Yeah, that's very compelling. Like if you think about a way that you can sell physical items without leaving your home, that's very cool. But tell me, like in the beginning, so you told me you did fairs at first, and then I guess you started with the online selling later. So how was that? How was like the first few days when you decided, okay, I gotta give Etsy a try, I gotta give the marketplaces a try?
I guess I was fortunate enough to start during a holiday season. So I started around October. So I was able to jump on some of the Halloween stuff. Admittedly, and after learning how online marketplaces are, it was probably a little bit too late to start with Halloween on October because it's already
Mm-hmm.
been, it's been indexed and all that. So I got a little discouraged at first, but when I started posting the Christmas items, just because your catalog has so much. So I started posting some of the Christmas items towards the end of October. By mid-November, you start hearing cha-ching and you're like, oh, what is this? Oh, wow. It's my first sale. And it ends up being, a Christmas, item. From there this year, I started posting items like the Santa hat, the candy dish that went like crazy. The cat star, I must have sold about 30 of those in a
Oh well.
week. I couldn't keep up, and I'm just got one printer, so it was very hard. And then yes, you have the multi material, and then you start learning how you guys all effectively can make it multi-part. So then that expands and you start saying, okay, well, I want to do, if I have 10 orders and they're all the same color cat in this example, I could just fill the bed and I could just do the multi-part. So the fact that I have the options of saying, do I want to make it a multi-material print so it looks all nice and clean, or do I want to make the extra effort and just do a bulk print of the same item and then just assemble it together? It's so easily put together that either way, there's very little effort, and it's even more profitable that way too.
So you started posting and it was late in the holiday season. It was late for the Halloween season, but it was still early for Christmas and all the other things that we know that are very interesting to sell online. So how long it took for you to, from zero, to actually start to see some traction and start to see some interesting revenue coming off of the store?
So if I started in, let's say, October, I got maybe one or two of the wall signs, specifically the like one in Bone Lee. So they're like the Gothic Valentine / Halloween, maybe like one or two of those. And by November 1st, I started putting in the items. I would say by Thanksgiving, so maybe maybe about 3 weeks, just to be honest. Of this was fresh off the store. It was kind of newish, so I didn't have, people didn't know, background. The store had very little sales, so there wasn't, any confidence that can be put. So people, are gonna try, and I'd say, yeah, about a couple of weeks after posting it, you start noticing views, you start noticing favorites. Sure enough, you get that cha-ching, and you're just like, oh, so it's just a patience game, but it really does take a couple of weeks, and the items will sell. They do.
If you do the work well, right?
Yeah.
Like, how much did you know about SEO? Like, how much did you study the hard part, so to say, of the marketplace? Because one thing that I feel, and we hear this a lot, right? The marketplaces, they are oversaturated, which in some extent is true. But as you said, like, you have your niche, you are understanding your customer more and more. So it's going to be saturated, but you can also build your reputation. You can understand what products are going to work and what products are not going to work. And above all else, you've got to play the marketplace game, right? So how much did you knew about SEO? What are the things that you're going to put in the description? The tags, how to optimize the pictures?
I mean, in all honesty, I learned as I went, because the same what you just mentioned, I went through all that at first. Why isn't it selling? What am I writing? Oh, cat Christmas tree topper. That's not going to do it. You have to start writing. You start learning that you have to write how people search for items, and so it's certain items at first. It's like this title makes no sense, but it doesn't have to really make sense. The algorithm really knows of how people are typing, and even in the description and in your tags. So all that, it all kind of goes together. And if you have to hit one buyer intent, so what is it? Oh, Christmas decoration or tree topper, festive decor. So you have to start learning all that. And yeah, it was trial by error, and it was a lot of looking over the stats in Etsy's particularly. So you start looking at the stats, and you can start drilling down, and you learn that, hey, people are finding my item because the word cat and tree were together. Okay, that's a key tag that Etsy's kind of telling you, hey, people are looking at your item when they type in cat and tree. Okay, so how do you expand that? Yeah, you can use AI, and you say, hey, either ChatGPT or Claude or anybody, say, hey, I've got people looking at my listing, specifically looking at cat tree, and it's a cat tree topper. What can we expand from that? And then it'll kind of, from there, give you certain ideas. As you start posting more and more, you get a hang of it. It's like riding a bike. At first, you're going to fall down. You're going to scrape your knee. Some people give up. Some people say, I don't want to fall down, and I'm going to keep trying. If I balance myself a little bit more, I'm going to work. So it's a balancing game, just like riding a bike. So you got to balance, and you got to see what is working and what is not. But you have to do the work. You have to look.
So you told me that you have a niche that you like to work with, which is home decor. I guess my follow-up question is, how did you find this niche? What were the things that you did? And did you start with that mentality off the bat, or it was something like you cast a wide net and you started picking on what was working?
It was a little bit of mixture of both. I started doing, since when I started seeing what was selling, I noticed I mentioned the cat tree topper was selling a lot. And I said, okay, well, this is a little bit like decorations. And then in the market fairs, I'd sell the figures, because that's what everybody was selling. So I kind of went with that too. But I kind of enjoyed more the reception that I got from the home decor And when I looked at an item, I feel like I can diversify it more. So if I look at, let's say, like a simple planter, I can change the size and I can say like it's a succulent planter or it's something bigger. And it's the same exact planter. I can just size it differently and then sell it differently. So I see more diversity in the home decor as I do in a figure. The figure's a figure and that's it. The flexi is the flexi and that's it. But again, this is just mine. For other people, the flexis is a huge market. I look at Etsy and you can see it. They're huge. You just have to go for that. But I just like the reception that I got from the home decor, and I liked how I can play around with the designs, and I do enjoy seeing how it's different. It's also, I feel it's a little bit better for me to do that when I do the social media marketing, using the home decor and showing off, with different succulents or different planters, and so it just helps.
Nice, because you also have that strategy where you post your listing to Pinterest, and it's a referral link to your Etsy store, right? And then if you gain traction on the Pinterest, also it brings traffic to your store.
Yes. So the same, yeah. At the second that I'm posting on Etsy on the same exact images, everything, I just put an overlay that allows me to that puts like a 20 or 30% discount if they use the Pinterest link for a couple of reasons. One, you learn that if you drive your own traffic, you do not pay Etsy ads. So by posting on Pinterest, which is free, and you put a little discount, you're still winning a lot more money and you're keeping a lot more of those profits. So it's social media. You see as more traffic, you have less ads that you need to put because you're just doing it on Pinterest.
One cool thing that I like, and one cool strategy that I like a lot when we're talking about home decor, and you said that you can do a succulent planter or you can do a larger planter, is that if you put multiple items with price variation, the first price that's gonna pop up is the cheaper one. So it's a good kind of like clickbait for people to click on your listing, and then they will get to see that there are two different sizes and with two different prices. But it's a good way when people are like scrolling and looking for a product to buy, it feels like, oh, this might be the cheaper option, but then they click and then they understand that there are two versions, and you can even sell the kit with the bigger and the smaller one within the same listing. So I think that works super well when we're talking about home decor.
Yes. I do that for some other items, for like watering items that help watering spikes, and they just basically water the pots and for the planters. Same exact thing. So they're different variations from 3 inches all the way to 9 inches. But what you're going to see is definitely all of them together, and you're probably going to see the price of the 3 inch because Etsy's going to do the cheapest one. But then as they scroll down, they're going to say, oh, okay, it's $30 for the biggest one for that, as opposed to the little guy.
Yeah.
So
because also, like, in the end of the day, when you think about a marketplace, you still gotta optimize the funnel as much as you can, right? So you gotta increase the views, increase the links, and then increase the conversion. So you gotta be able to look at your listings and optimize each step of the way, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. And now something that I got super curious about, like, what was your best month? Talking like going through the holiday season, you also went through Valentine's Day. I don't know if you did any seasonal items on that part as well.
I tried actually on Valentine's. I probably could have done better. I guess if I myself was a little bit better about it. I think I was just too busy trying to do stuff here at home. So I just kind of let whatever I had ride. And I was taking advantage of the fact that I said, okay, well, now that I've learned SEO works, I kind of preferred prepping for other items. So like during the Valentine's, I was prepping more for Easter, give that a little bit of time to like really build up, So I kind of focused more on the Easter time because that really did do a lot.
Because that's also like about talking about your niche, right? You knew that for your niche, perhaps Easter was going to be bigger on home decor than Valentine's. So it made sense.
Yeah, Easter was Easter, and as well as Mother's Day, because people love buying their mom's planters, and a lot of them could be an animal shaped planter or whatnot, and that basically is great.
That's awesome. So what was your best month in total in revenue, if you want to share that with us?
If I had to say honestly, and we're finishing it up, but for whatever reason, this month, believe it or not, has been the best month I've had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I know what it is. It's been a lot of the dragon book counters and the grumpy cat. So if it's like a sharing wise of putting a couple of those items, and I actually looked it over, it's built majority of those sales. So having a handful of these items, I had about $1,700 in revenue
Oh wow, $1,700 on a single month with one printer.
With one printer and just those couple items, and that's it. That's been the bulk of it. So it's been a lot of a lot of those dragons, and that's where I was saying where I've got multiple orders for that. So that's where the multi-part is huge. So I can just fill the plate with all the dragons, fill the plate with all the dies, fill the plate with all of the nails, and just glue it together. And it's very little effort to put it together. It just goes in perfectly. But yeah, for whatever reason, this month has been the biggest that I never really thought. I think also the partly maybe because I hit a lot of the Father's Day also. So I did the whiskey barrel tray that we had. So between that, I was really trying to hit Father's Day market. So for that, but it actually beat Mother's Day by about $600. It beat
Mother's Day is usually a much better season for sales than Father's Day. People don't care 100%. Much about their fathers.
No.
Just kidding. But yeah, and one other thing, maybe a reason why you're outperforming right now, it's because you have a store with more relevance, and now every item that you hit a home run with is going to reach a much higher audience than the previous champion products that you had in your store.
So if to be 100% transparent and to say that you are 100% on the money, if I look, we're talking right now, so I'm looking right now, and if I see what sales were in June of 2025, it was $200. So yeah, was it a lot? No, but it was that whole learning curve. And if $169 to be exact. And if I look now at 2026 and it's 1,800, that's huge difference. Between just learning, being patient, making sure that the quality is there in the listing, because you already know that the quality is going to come out fine in the printer. You just got to make sure that the listing has the quality.
And if someone wants to buy from you and he might be a bit skeptical, you have a ton of reviews already, like to kind of push your products further. Did you arrange with any family or friends to buy your first few items to give them some good reviews and bump up your store?
Never. No. None of my family has ever purchased on Etsy. Nobody has done anything. I've actually not really told many people of my family or friends, to be honest with you.
About your side hustle.
As my side, yeah. I just, I'd say like, I make it or I do stuff like this, but I don't do it like that. I just rather let it grow organically, It probably would be better.
Yeah, I think that's a fair strategy, right? You know your product, you give it to a couple of friends, family, ask them to review for you. I think that's fair, and it helps with like the first hard months. So I think it's all right.
It's 100%. Yeah.
And now thinking about like now that you've gone through the process of creating, optimizing, figuring out how to find new products, and now that you have I think like you're ready to scale. But my main question is, do you want to scale, or this is like as far as you would like to take this? What is next step for you?
I would like to. I really would. I can see the growth. I see the success. I see it. It's not an overnight. If I was able to jump that much in a year, what can next year bring me? And so on and so forth. So I would love to scale. I would love to bring more volume and just hit more houses, in that sense with more of the quality products and whatnot. So yeah, I would love to.
Awesome.
Need the space and permission from my CEO, my wife.
Yeah, because it is in the end of the day, it's still a family project, right?
Yes.
Do your kids help you out with like assembly and gluing stuff?
Yeah, they help me with that, and even sometimes I use them as my little advertising. Like, hey, what do you like here? Like, we scroll through the website, we go through everything. It's like, oh yeah, that was really cool. Let's do that. So, if they like it, other people have to like it. So
they are your research team.
They're 100%.
All right, Derek. So thank you very much for sharing all these insights with us. And Derek, he is a member of the STLFLIX community. He's a lifetime member, but also he was kind enough to take the time to come here and talk with us. So thank you very much for that. And I hope you achieve the success and the scale that you want to.
Thank you, Bruno. I appreciate it. I really do.
And last but not least, don't forget to click in the link also here to register for our live stream that is going to happen this week that you have to participate. And it's going to be also a giveaway of 20 kilograms of PLA and a K2+. So make sure to register for the live stream, because we're going to talk not only about the giveaways and the things that we are doing, but also a very cool plan for you to kickstart your 3D printing business as well. And perhaps we could be here featuring your story in the future. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.